もののけをね。
Anime is not usually regarded as a sophisticated medium by mainstream standards. Sometimes it's not viewed as an artistic medium at all. However, I think that Mononoke shatters these expectations. I've never seen an anime that completely uses itself as an art form more than Mononoke. Mononoke maintains a very refined sense of creativity with its eclectic visuals and sounds. Despite its unique approach to storytelling, Mononoke remains quite true to its genre as a horror mystery anime. The show consists of 5 disconnected arcs which revolve around mysteries relating to malevolent spirits called Mononoke. The only recurring character is the main character, which is the medicine seller. The medicine seller can slay and exorcise the Mononoke. In this video, I'm going to be dissecting this anime as well as the main themes it focuses on during each of its story arcs. I'm going to break the anime up into 5 categories, those being story, art and animation, sound, character, and enjoyment. At first, the storytelling might seem confusing or vague. However, almost every detail in the story's execution is intentional in conveying a broader narrative and developing thematic elements. Mononoke is a very psychological anime that thoroughly examines the mindsets of its unique cast of characters. While some of the characters may seem odd and even outlandish, once their truths are revealed, it's evident that they have clear ties to real-world attitudes and societal behaviors. In general, the entire show remains quite equivocal. Various plot points are left ambiguous, allowing viewers to develop their own interpretations and takeaways. In this sense, Mononoke is a very personal anime, whose enjoyment and understanding are guided by the viewer's experiences and outlook on the world. You can keep returning to this anime and enjoy it just as much as you did the first time around, if not more. As I watched the anime for the first time, I'd rewatch pieces of the episodes only to find more elements to analyze or symbolism that I'd missed. Incidentally, this is quite representative of Mononoke's layered and intentional storytelling. This is not to say that Mononoke is too esoteric to be understood. Again, Mononoke is guided by the personal perspective of the viewer. So it is still up to you to interpret and analyze Mononoke as you see fit. However, this show is still creating social commentary, and I think it is still making its mark on media. As a political science student, what strikes me about the types of stories that Mononoke chooses to convey is that they're all quite feminist, at least in the way that I interpret them. Mononoke showcases and dissects various facets of womanhood within society. Each of its arcs explore different injustices that women have suffered as a result of their circumstances. Those circumstances are usually linked to broader societal issues that Mononoke alludes to. That's not to say that every arc solely centers around a particular woman, but rather that the arc focuses on the implications that these injustices or that these circumstances have for the woman or for the characters involved, as well as the world that they inhabit. Each of the story arcs in Mononoke is relevant, well thought out, and nuanced. The way that the arcs unravel is so captivating for the viewer to watch. Each story flows like a seamless play with growing suspense until the shape, truth, and reason or regret of the Mononoke in question is revealed. I think that the story could have developed the world's lore a little bit better. For instance, I think that we could have gotten more background information on the medicine seller and his other form, as well as the sacred sword. But regardless of this, the focus of Mononoke isn't on intricate world building, but rather the conveyal of profound horror mysteries involving Mononoke, and I think that the anime does this remarkably. Although many plot points are left ambiguous, this allows for multiple interpretations and understandings of the stories, depending on how they resonate with you. One thing I noticed about the directing and about the atmosphere of the show in general is that it does a very good job at unsettling and unnerving the viewer. Maybe it's more so the characters themselves than the viewer, but there are lots of elongated pauses mixed with moments of cluttered action, which evoke a sense of suspense and disorientation or uncertainty, it's able to evoke the difficult feelings that it needs to when it needs to. And I think that this is a marker of good directing and good storytelling. In terms of art and animation, it's probably one of the first things you noticed about the show, but the entire anime's art style is so unique and mesmerizing to watch. Mononoke is a visual feast with a distinct sense of style. Each episode boasts stunning illustrations and aesthetic color schemes, but beyond these subjective remarks, I think that there's a very seamless blend of CGI with the regular 2D animation, since that regular 2D animation already really stands out. So all of the editing techniques blend in quite well, and on top of that, this outlandish sense of style is still able to add layers of symbolism and depth to each story arc. And so it's making the overall story a bit more complex and a bit more intricate, which I think is really cool and inventive, especially for a 12 episode anime where you don't get that much room to expand on a lot of concepts. Similarly, when it comes to Mononoke's sound, the show excels as well. Mononoke allows its sound to develop palpable atmospheres. The soundtrack is especially brilliant at evoking suspense. In general, the sound effects keep the momentum of the show going and help the stories unfold. I also think the voice acting is pretty good. It helps that a lot of the sounds are ambient noises and a lot of the sound effects are very drawn out. They contribute to the sense of suspense and they're able to unsettle and unnerve the viewer when needed. When it comes to characters and characterization, Mononoke has a very diverse and layered cast of personalities with strong ties to our own society and real-world attitudes. The characters are used quite well and help further the overarching narrative. I think they could have developed certain characters a bit more. Regrettably, the parameters of the show, namely the episodic nature of the story arcs, limit a few characters from being fully realized. Despite this, I think that the characters' storylines were intriguing and closely intertwined with each other, which added nuance to the stories. Overall, I think a lot of the characters were relatable, and even when there was the occasional one or two-dimensional secondary character, I think that they were still able to convey meaningful ideas within their respective story arc. Ultimately, in terms of enjoyment, I think Mononoke is a very compelling show to watch. It examines a variety of themes in an incredibly creative and idiosyncratic way without losing that underlying social commentary. The one thing I would change about this otherwise near-perfect anime is the lack of background information that we're given on the medicine seller as well as his other form and the sacred sword, like I mentioned earlier. Nonetheless, I think that Mononoke still stands as a masterpiece within the genre of horror mystery. In fact, I'd go as far as to say that Mononoke is one of the most well-executed and detailed forms of media I've ever consumed. Although I highly recommend Mononoke to more seasoned anime viewers or to anime viewers that have at least seen a few anime here and there, I still think that anyone can enjoy the show and anyone can develop their own interpretations and get their own takeaways from it.